How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RuffledRowlit, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Today we got ourselves some Pokemon rumors and things like that to take a look at, as well as some news. So let's get started. First things first, guys, is this right here. Now, this is official news. Guess what, guys? We have confirmation that you can get yourself KELDEO and MELTAN shiny form. So yes, these two are shiny locked Pokemon. Normally you wouldn't be able to get them, shiny versions in any like legitimate way, but apparently they're being added into home, which is massive. I think if we go over here to Cerebi, we'll be able to find more about this information and see what they're talking about, which I think is right here. So Cerebi update: 2 new distributions of shiny KELDEO and shiny MELTAN have begun in Pokemon Home. Get KELDEO for completing the Galar, Isle of Armor, and Crown Tundra Pokedex. So basically, complete Sword and Shield and the DLCs for it. And then get MELTAN for completing the Kanto Pokedex. And that would probably be in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, because you can just use Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee to complete that Pokedex, as it's based on Gen 1. So basically, they finally added these, which is really strange because they don't normally do this. It's a little bit odd. And you can see here even from Soul, who says, at this point, it seems like Game Freak might be gearing up for something bigger related to this on Pokemon Day. I don't know if that necessarily means it's in any way related. I'm going to be real with you here, Soul. But he says maybe ports of older games could be coming, and once you complete the older regions' Pokedexes in Home, you'll get older shiny mythicals and legendaries. Again, I doubt it, because most legendaries, not all, but majority of them, you kind of are able to get in one game or another. And of course, through transfers and stuff. And now that they've added a bunch of the more like the mythicals and stuff, like, Meloetta and, I'm pretty sure KELDEO is also a mythical, because it's not a legendary, is it? MELTAN is definitely a mythical. But point is, and Manaphy and Fione as well. But point is, the only reason I'm really bringing it up is that I don't really know if there's a correlation between that, meaning we're going to get older games. Though it would be great if they did bring back like older games and like ports and stuff like that. That would be nice, because there is no official way to play the old Pokemon games nowadays. Like, there's just really no way to actually do it, which is a little shitty, because I feel like a lot of people would love to play the older games and be able to actually transfer stuff over directly without having to do the hassle of going through like multiple different things, like multiple different software, like Pokemon, Bank and so on and so forth. So it would be great. But he does also say here, or maybe it's for something completely different. Like mayhaps there's a black and white remake at the end of this year and you can finally get a shiny Victini for completing that dex. That would be great. I still really doubt there's going to be a black and white remake this year, but I would love to be proven wrong. I'd love to be proven wrong. I'd love for them to announce it and for that to be actually the case. I personally, I'm not going to lie, I think that would be great. I'm just going to be real with you. I think that would be great. But again, that's just a possibility. There's no guarantees here. We have to wait and see how it all turns out. So we'll just wait for now. But there is some other stuff to talk about. And in this case, we got some other stuff in regards to specifically the Nintendo Switch 2. So this is from Central Leaks, who says that looks like this is really happening. The Switch firmware 19.0 added a function to detect exactly this. And it basically is inverted controller connected on rail? And then basically, if you see down here, it's from Wario64. He says a Switch 2 patent suggests that its Joy-Cons can be connected upside down. The patent notes that because of the Switch 2 only has one headphone port, players would therefore be able to decide whether to have it at the top or the bottom of their console depending on their preferences. What this means is, so imagine if you have your Switch, right? You have your regular Switch with... Normally, I always have a Switch available right next to me, but I don't have one right now, which is kind of crazy. I'm not going to lie. But either way, imagine your regular Switch, right? The Joy-Cons can only go up and go down right onto the thing. You cannot, like, plug them in from the bottom. They always had to go from the top. Well, the Joy-Cons, we're going to have the new ones here. The thing is, the normal way you would have it is just the way it comes default. But now imagine if you could take the Joy-Cons off and put them in upside down, or plug them in from the upside down on the opposite side. That's what this is implying, that you possibly might be able to actually plug in the new Joy-Cons in opposite ends. So it doesn't have to be the correct order. You can actually plug them in any direction, and hence why they would have like the... what do you call it? Only has one headphone port. Therefore, players will be able to decide whether to have it at the top or the bottom of their console. So again, it's intriguing. It will be pretty interesting. I don't know if it's like massive or super useful, but I can see use cases where it makes sense. So I don't really like, you know what? I actually kind of like it. I'm not too much against it. I think it would be pretty neat. because it's just a small feature that could make a big difference for a lot of people in case you see a use case for it. Again, maybe not everybody does. But speaking of the Switch 2 still, there is a rumor coming to us from Switch 2 Stock, which is just a Twitter account that shares rumors and stuff. But it says new Switch 2 leaks, Switch 2 launch April, no pre-orders, direct release after the direct, price is $450 US, potential dates April 3rd, 10th, 17th, or 24th. Now, he gets this information from this post by John Stanley over on the r/Nintendo Switch 2 Reddit, who says local Hong Kong's Akihabara video games shops saying that Switch 2 launches this April. So today went to the Golden Computer Arcade Center to get Civ 7. If you don't know Civ 7, it's Civilization 7. It's a strategy game that just came out. By the way, don't play that game. Don't buy that game. It's dog shit. So just fair up. Like just saying, other Civilization games, 6, 5, go play those. Don't play 7. It's a scam. The game is half broken. But anyway, it says a Civ 7 for my Switch 1 and asked around when pre-orders for Switch 2 will happen. Turns out there will be no pre-ordering as the console is going to be launched in the month of April, shortly after the Nintendo Direct. And if it's a Thursday launch like OG Switch, that'll be April 3rd, 10th, 17th, or 24th. They're saying expect to pay 3,500 Hong Kong dollars. So that's a give or take $450 US. And I guess it's now now makes sense to have all these hands-on events worldwide even after the console launches, so people can get hands-on and maybe then buy one on site. No pre-ordering, as Nintendo has built up so much stock that anyone wanting one launch day, at least in Hong Kong, will just be able to walk into any game store and buy one. Gonna be effing wild if at the end of the April 2nd Direct, Nintendo announced the console will be on shelves potentially the next day. I'm not gonna lie, this is a crazy rumor. Like, this would be insane, okay? Like, freaking sane. Like, just insane if true. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, this would be incredible. The price, though, $450, a little steep. I'm not gonna lie, a little steep. But the launch date would be interesting because April is not that far away. And April is also when we get the Nintendo Direct, which we have confirmed, by the way. We're getting that. So there's a lot of potential here with this being actually real, but we'll have to wait and see. Jake Randall down here, for example, says, I'm sure that's true for the chain of shops. They will not get access to pre-orders. However, pre-orders will 100% be happening. You quote me on that one. But he says here, will not get access to pre-orders. For this, does the retailer have a special agreement to directly sell instead of pre-orders? Or is this something else? So yeah, again, somebody says, I'd be surprised if the launch was prior to the show and tells. If it's not, I agree. So again, the idea here that this would be like, and this is the biggest thing that like kind of stops this being from being a possibility, is that you guys may not know this, but if you haven't heard, there's going to be these Nintendo in real life events. Like they're actually going to be doing real life events where you'll get to come in and try the Nintendo Switch 2 out. Like yes, you get to play it, and they're doing these events all around the world, and there's events going all the way until July. Okay, which if there's events going all the way until July, that's kind of where it puts a little bit of a hamper on the idea that this would come out in April, because why would you be doing hands-on events all the way until July if the console's already out in April? Who gives a shit at that point? Like, why would you care about going to an event to have hands-on access when you can just go buy your own? It makes no sense, right? And that's the kind of the dumb part about this whole thing, is that I highly doubt we're going to get this console in April. Like, this would be this would be so sick, this would be so cool, but let's be real, it's not going to be real. It's just bullshit. But it'll be interesting. If it did end up happening, it would be very, very interesting. But again, I highly doubt it is actually real. So I would just say hold off, wait and see what comes out down the line, if anything else develops from this, because I really do not know. Like, I really do not know if there's like anything worthwhile or anything you should like really trust at this current time with any of this, because again, it's just a rumor, right? This is the biggest takeaway you can get from this. It's just a rumor. So just keep that in mind. But we do have some other stuff to talk about. For example, we have a interesting theory here from Soul Silver, and it also comes from Lumio's post. Shout out to both of them. So basically, Lumio said, one thing Pokemon Day is very likely to show us, even indirectly, is the time period of Pokemon Legends ZA and what it's set in. Are you a Team Past or Team Future? And then Soul says, I'm Team Future. Not that far future, just some time after Pokemon X and Y. I really want it to be in the past. I love PLA for its setting and culture, but I've been 95% 100% convinced it'll be the future / present. But I'm not counting out a mechanic where we could time travel from the present to the past or far future. It just feels like such a big part of the Legends title. I wouldn't die on this hill though. So again, I have a lot to say in regards to, is this game going to be in the past? Is this game going to be in the future? And I think my biggest takeaway is that, keep in mind, so PLA, right? Pokemon Legends Arceus was set in the past. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet was set in the present, but featured elements of the past and the future. Pokemon Legends EA could be the future game, the game set in the future. I mean, it would make sense with all the futuristic shit we saw in the first like teaser trailer. Like, there's too much stuff that's pointing towards that, so that would make the most sense, right? That would make the most sense. However, there is always a chance the game could be set in the past because it is a Legends game, and Legends games are supposed to be sort of based on these books of legend and stories from the past. So maybe it is. But again, it's so hard to tell with this. It is genuinely so hard to tell with this. But I'd love to know you guys' thoughts and opinions on this as well. Then, moving on to the next thing, which is Pokemon Day 2025. The February 27th, 2025 Pokemon Presents features Takato Utsunomiya and Tsunekazu Ishihara. Apparently, there's going to be a Terra Incursions of Gouging Fire, Raging Bolt, and Iron Boulder, as well as Iron Crown event for Pokemon Scarlet and, he says purple, but I guess violet. He says there's going to be the arrival of Glastrier, Spectrier, and Calyrex to Pokemon Go. That would actually make sense. Those two, I think they do still need to show up. I don't think they've shown up just yet. And then he says there's going to be an event of Chespin, Fennekin, Froakie, Pikachu, and Eevee, all of which are starter Pokemon of sorts, with party hats appearing only that day to celebrate Pokemon Day in Pokemon Go, which, again, sounds highly realistic. Keep in mind, Pokemon Day, like Pokemon Day itself, is supposed to be a celebration of all things Pokemon. Now, I know you and me, you people who watch these videos, most of you, I'm not saying all of you, but most of you don't really care about Pokemon Go and all this other stuff. But keep in mind, Pokemon Day isn't just for you and me who play the mainline games. It is also for the Pokemon Go players, for the Pokemon Masters players, for the Pokemon Unite players. Like, those guys also are waiting for news and information. Sure, they get more news than you and I do. God forbid Game Freak could give us a fucking trailer once every like 3 months, but hey, it is what it is, you know. We love it over here. Point is, those guys also are expecting news. So it's highly likely that stuff like this will happen because it happens every single year. Pokemon Sleep, Pokemon Go, Pokemon Masters EX, Pokemon Unite, Pokemon Cafe Remix. 5 games that still need to be mentioned. Oh shit, I forgot. Pokemon TCG Pocket, that's another one. That's 6 side games that they still need to give information on and update and give massive announcements and shit. So again, highly possible we will see all this kind of stuff. So let's move on. They say the arrival of Mesprit, Azelf, and Uxie to Pokemon Sleep. So again, if you play Pokemon Sleep, that might be good for you. Iris is a Neo champion, and Freed are introduced to Pokemon Masters EX. Okay, cool. Again, makes sense. Masters EX, it does get updates. Still, it's still an actively played game, so fair enough. Deyancy's event at Pokemon Cafe Remix. Again, not that crazy. Then he says Suicune, Noivern, and Passimian will arrive in Pokemon Unite. That's an interesting combo. Passimian I can see. Noivern, fair enough. Suicune, interesting that they would have add that one of all the legendaries, but you know what? Fair point. Either way, then they say Pokemon TCG Pocket or Pokemon Pocket trading a card game application will receive a mini expansion on the same day. Again, doesn't sound that crazy. TCG Pocket is brand new, so giving out as much content as possible early on is probably a good thing for them. Then a Pokemon Legends ZA trailer. God bless, we're already expecting that. We already know there's going to be a ZA trailer, obviously. It says starters are Snivy, Scorbunny, and Piplup. Snivy, Scorbunny, Piplup. I can live with that. Fine. Okay, sure. Then they say MC or main character are like Callum and Serena, but they wear green/black clothes. Okay. Returning megas are Lucario, Absol, Heracross, Pinsir, Ampharos, and Gyarados. New megas in the trailer are Haxorus, interesting, Arbok, Crustle, and Hawlucha. Doesn't sound like the craziest combo. I can see Hawlucha getting a mega, and I can definitely see Crustle getting a mega. Arbok, I feel less likely, but I don't know, man. Haxorus, maybe. Zygarde is at the end of the trailer, comes out of the ground in a white aura. This ends with the cover of the game where Zygarde, the main characters, and the Prism Tower in black and blue background, similar to the style of the first trailer. Release date, June 5th. I beg you, Lord in heavens above, let this be the actual release date. Dude, please let this game come out in June. That would be so good. That would be so good. We would all be so happy if it came out in June. Because then you know what that is? Y'all could have an entire summer. You all can have an entire summer just to play Pokemon. We can just play Pokemon an entire summer, dude. That would be so much fun. That would be so good, dude. But hey, we'll have to wait and see. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to know you guys' thoughts and opinions on this rumor, as well as everything else we talked about. Again, if you guys want to get your hands on the new mythicals, shiny, make sure to transfer your Pokemon into home. That's the only way we really get to do that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Peace out and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.